Today is a great day to start your own podcast. Whether you're looking for a new marketing channel, have a message you want to share with the world, or just think it would be fun to have your own talk show, podcasting is an easy, inexpensive, and fun way to expand your reach online. Buzzsprout is hands down the easiest and best way to launch, promote, and track your podcast. Your show can be online and listed in all the major podcast directories like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and more within minutes of finishing your recording. Podcasting isn't hard when you have the right partners, and the team at Buzzsprout is passionate about helping you succeed. Join over 100,000 podcasters already using Buzzsprout to get their message out to the world. Let's create something great together. I got my coat on because I ain't really get dressed today.
I just came back from class.
You know what I'm saying?
AB just got on me because he said, you about to go on camera in a white beater. And I'm breastfeeding. I don't really know what I'm supposed to put on because I got to take it off anyway.
I mean, all we can see is like from your collarbone up anyway, so.
Do my collarbones look bad?
He said don't be showing off his collarbones.
Are they ashy?
Bones. Tell us, don't be showing off my neck bones.
All right.
All right, 3, 2, 1.
You are now about to enter the hottest podcast on the planet.
It's your boy DJ Superman.
It's your girl SoSo.
Peace, it's ya.
What's up? It's your boy Scooby.
Now get ready. You just entered the Tough Talk podcast with the Tough Talk crew.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Tough Talk podcast with the Tough Talk crew. Hope everybody enjoyed their weekend and having a good time. We are now in March, so let's go ahead and get into this thing. So I know that was a weird little flub with my tongue right there. I don't know what that was. Let's get to the crew. Introducing, we have SoSo in the building.
I'm up here. Hi.
Trust me, it's right on my channel. Don't worry about that.
I know. I just like messing with you.
Next in the building, we have Ya.
Speech, power, love, and divine prophecy. Talk to me nice.
You already know. And we got my main man Scoob in the building.
What up, peoples? How y'all living out there in the big world that we live in? And it's all around this.
Exactly. And of course, your boy, DJ Superman, Hood Hard DJs, mixologist, you know, all that good stuff. You know, I can mix anything. Just let me know what you want to hear. But let's go ahead and get into what we had going on this past week. We had a busy past week this week.
Yeah. I was pretty straight. Kids were here for the entire weekend. Took them to school this morning. You know, had to bribe them kind of to make sure they're going to get up this morning. It's like, hey, we're not going to do this again. You don't get up in the morning unless we absolutely have to. So
I'm about to say, how early did you have to get up and how far was that drive?
we had to get up at 6. We got about 6:15. We left here about 6:45. They got school at like 7:25. It was about almost 30-minute drive.
Okay, y'all made good time. Okay.
Yeah, and they had to be there by 7:30, so had 5 minutes to spare, you know. So that was pretty good. Did some research on making sure my dog don't get pregnant no more. Yeah, so they can't go back in the heat for another 6 to 8 months. So that's a good thing. Huh. However, did get her shots updated, got her booked to get spayed and groomed. So made some good progress today. Oh, and I caught the neighbor dog in my backyard with another dog, and he was humping. Yeah, he was humping. Yesterday you weren't here. I just happened. Honey was out back barking, and I just happened to look out the window, and there he was in the backyard with another dog humping it.
Oh, see, that's wrong. So how you bring another bitch to the backyard and then got her in the window? That's foul, man. That
in the window.
He's a man.
She was on the deck. She was on the deck barking at him.
I bet she was. What
Right.
the canine thottery is this?
He probably was like, I just had your babies.
Right.
Ain't
Lord.
paid no child support.
That's
I
so
already
rough.
know.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, man, in the backyard. I was like, yep, he's the culprit.
Every time I think about dogs and childbirth, I think about like my father bred dogs as a child, and so I remember the dogs getting stuck all the time. So
Yeah.
every time I think about dogs and babies, like I just be thinking about them getting stuck and them being like butt to butt, and it literally was like an everyday thing because it's mad dogs. They're just running around, and eventually like some of them ended up in cages or tied to trees and stuff. So, but that's the thing.
Yeah.
Oh,
And I
my
got
goodness.
some new lights for my car. I changed my headlights, my dome lights in the interior, my 2 lights on the doors, and my tag light to white light. So it looks like really cool.
That's lit. They sound like they might be LED. Is it energy efficient?
Yep.
That's awesome. When you say like bright white light, that's definitely up that alley.
Yeah, I like it a lot better. So
Say lit
It's
for real.
easier on the eyes too. Like after looking at them for so long.
yeah, it looks really good, and it's better because I did the low beams just to make sure, so I could make sure it looked better, and it really does. And I feel like I clean my headlight covers with that stuff to clear them up.
Oh yeah.
Look a lot better.
Bet. Yeah. So I know. So you had a lot going on. I know which one of y'all want to go.
Yeah, I wish I was I definitely was intending to go, but AB went to Soul Food ATL last Tuesday at our lounge and he had a ball. Definitely looking forward to coming back with some instruments, and I'm definitely looking forward to just coming. but yeah, no, I loved all of the photos and the videos and everything from it. I stayed home and I worked the next day. I just did photos and stuff, and I got to do some editing this week. But yes,
Bet it up. See, obviously, Soul Food last week was the highlight of the week, of course. But there was another event that Sunday that some of us didn't attend. So, what was going on with that private event?
Oh, wait. Sunday last week? Or
Yes,
this week?
last week.
Oh, last week, it was my private party
Yes.
for just like family and friends. And it was pretty cool. And then Soul Food was Tuesday with the artist and all the other people. And some of my close family and friends came to that too. But it was lit. Everybody was from out of town, I think, except like 2 people, I think. Everybody.
Oh, really?
Well, Rico's from North Carolina. Buggy was from South Carolina. AB, South Carolina. The Alabama group.
Yeah.
And Nick was from Nashville. So yeah. And then Vocal lives here now, but he's from somewhere else. And then that was it, right? Yeah, I think.
Sound about right.
Yeah.
I want to say there's somebody missing, but that sounds about right.
did you say Harmony already?
Oh, Harmony.
There we go.
Harmony lives here, but is from, I think, Columbus, Georgia. But yeah, the Alabama group, they were hilarious. I'm not gonna get over them playing Sweet Home Alabama in Atlanta. I was like, excuse you.
And just straight got on the other band's equipment and just rocking it out. I'm like, man, y'all, ooh.
They opened that thing all the way up.
Yeah.
And then Rico came and did his thing.
Yeah.
I was really shocked that he came. Like, he said he was coming, so I should have known. But you know what I'm saying? Like, some people, they change the plans at the last minute or whatever. So the fact that the fact that he showed up, like, it meant a lot.
Yeah.
And he was singing.
Yeah.
He was singing.
That
I
boy,
felt that through the phone.
I mean,
what they say, What did they say on Coming to America? That boy sang. What he saying? That boy
That boy
sang
good.
good. Yeah, that boy good.
That
Yeah.
boy good.
Yeah.
And then I don't know if anybody caught the guy who did my decorations and stuff for the party mimicking vocal. It's on the video. If you look at the clip on Soul Food ATL of vocal performing, look in the background. You're gonna see Johnny with the mic.
Okay, I'm about to say, was that him with the mic in the background trying to serenade whoever that was?
Better
What
play
is he
it out.
doing?
I had no idea that happened until I watched the video. I'm like, first of all, when did I even give him a mic? Like, I don't even know how that happened. That joke was funny.
First
Yeah,
off, if
it
y'all
was-
are listening and watching this, y'all need to
it was
follow
a
us on
vibe.
IG because that's where all this action is at. So if
Yes.
y'all want to catch something, check out our stories or IG Live or whatever. That's where you're gonna see it at.
And AB comes in and he just like, he was in the moment. I could just look at him. I was like, you good? He's like, I'm good.
He be so tuned in, like he get into a whole nother vibe when he about to perform.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
Yeah,
So,
everybody
it
showed
was-
out
it
though,
was
for real.
fun.
Oh yeah, I love it. It makes me really happy that we can gather for positivity and sharing creativity and passion and arts, all of that. It's wonderful.
Yeah, he was
Definitely
like,
something to get up for.
that's what it was. He's like, I said, this not the link up, huh? He was like, oh no, this is totally different. It's like totally different.
We need
Yeah.
more of that though. You know, we get lost in like trap music and stuff.
We do.
Yeah, gotta get that soul back.
That's why it was birthed.
Yeah,
I got
kinda
sick
like
of
that
watching the
reset.
rappers singers get disrespected. So
Mm-hmm.
that's how it all came about.
Let's see. Anything else towards the weekend?
Turned up with Shay Star yesterday. Remember that? She came in at the end.
Oh
talking
yeah.
about, oh, SoSo's having a party on Sunday. Surprise. I'm like, so yeah, I was with her yesterday. It was Sunday, whenever Sunday was. My days are thrown off, sorry. But I was with her, and that was lit. She did a fashion show with performances. It's pretty lit. And Saturday I went to this thing with what is it? Parker and James and Parker. Hold up, Keith and James with the hats. The what do you call those that everybody wears? Oh, I can't think of the name of it. You know, they got the red on the bottom and then different colors. You got the black ones. Like the brim of the hat is different colors.
I gotta see.
Sounds like a fancy fedora.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
okay.
So their anniversary party was lit. Jazzy Faye ran into him. Star-studded Bentleys backed up, lined up at the door, red carpet, bunch of celebrities, and I was just in there being me.
Yep, that's what's up.
Watching them be drunk.
Right.
That's it. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, like you say?
Yeah, she went.
You said what?
No, I want to make sure you said everything that you had going on. I couldn't remember if you said everything. Okay.
Yeah, my life is pretty much the same. No, like I'm either raising babies, help people birth babies, researching how to birth babies safely, postpartum, pregnancy, photography, videography, homeschooling, food, meal prep. I literally just I recreate the same processes over and over again with different individuals. So unless I'm like a part of something spectacular, I'm pretty much just doing my best to work on myself.
Feel you on that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's see. I didn't really have too much going on after Soul Food because that was pretty much the highlight of the week. Like we already said, like everybody showed out. We had a good time. You know, come to support SoSo. So you know, we really enjoyed ourselves. Aside from that, my girlfriend, she's starting to personal train. So I was gonna be one of her test subjects. So we had a workout on Thursday, and I'm just now getting over my soreness now. because some of the stuff she had me doing, I was like, what is this? And what are these muscles that I'm feeling that I don't know I had before? Like, what the hell is happening right now? But she's doing that. She's gonna have her fitness page and all that up pretty soon, so y'all stay tuned for that. But on the Saturday, I was DJing for Barbie T. Shout out Hot 98.1. She had her private birthday party that I was doing for her. It was real cool. You know, she had a lot of her close friends and family and stuff come by and whatnot, and we rocked out. So yeah, that was real cool. And okay, so for anybody that know me personally, I got this speaker called the Evolve 30, right? So this thing is like one speaker. It got like a little 10 on the bottom with a line array on top. I was finally able to turn the sucker up that day, and that thing was still rocking that room. I was like, what the hell, man? Because the room ain't that big. So if you know anything about speakers and like, you know, for DJs or whatever, the fact that this one speaker like did all of that, everybody was like, what the hell is happening? Like, that's that. Yeah, that's that. That's what's up. It was awesome. I just had to get that out there. But all right, so let's go ahead and go into this topic. We have Ya at the helm, and she's going to take us into learning healthy relations.
Okay, so one thing I actually just realized I just realized why I wanted to talk about this. But do you think in your life personally that you have been taught what a healthy relationship is, or do you feel like it's been assumed based on behaviors?
First, what's the definition of a healthy relationship?
Being comfortable to be yourself, being able to be open, being able to be truthful and honest without consequences, being able to grow and create and be passionate and just exist freely without boundaries, and having peace too. I think that's a part that we miss sometimes. We think we can sacrifice peace in our relationships. So all of those things, including being happy. Like sometimes peace and happiness are not one and the same. So all of those.
Okay, so with that, your question was, were we taught a healthy relationship, or did we? What was your question again?
Like, you know how for the most part, sometimes I feel like when we were children, grown-ups just assumed that we knew right from wrong because that's what they said, rather than actually speaking to us in a way that we could understand and, you know, learn and give us explanation as to why we do certain things. Like I know a lot of my elders said, because I said so, or because I said so. And
Right.
so it was helpful for me to have understanding behind, you know, why certain rules were in place, you know, manners or the way you speak to people and things like that. Like we just learned how to, you know, make other people comfortable basically as a child. But were you actually taught what a healthy relationship is, or were you just kind of coached along the way how to make other people either comfortable or, you know, deal with them or around them in a way that you're not irritating them? Like, you know, I feel like children are sometimes pushed off rather than taught. So it just made me think, like, were you actually taught positive and healthy behaviors, or was it something that was just assumed over time?
I feel like a little bit of both.
Yeah.
Because there was moments where it was because I said so, and you don't question it. But overall, I think it was all for my good, if that makes sense. Like it made me who I am today, and it's, you know, why like I set my standards the way I set them, or how I just move. Period. So I think it's both, and then just even watching my parents with their relationship, like you know, the way my dad cared for her or took care of her. And you know what I'm saying? Even that part of it, like I watched it and learned it from them. You know, what's acceptable and not acceptable. And
Same, same. And it's, I guess, like she was saying, yeah. Initially, it was I watched, you know, because it was. I guess it was more or less like they didn't hover over each other and they gave each other space. If they did had a disagreement, I never knew about it, and it was never in front of me, never in front of my sisters. You know, everything was, you know, made to where we were comfortable, they were comfortable, and we were taught, you know, the respect and everything. So it was a few, like SoSo said, it was a few because I said so's, but you know, those because I said so's were the right ones. So growing older taught me that those were those situations. But yeah.
If we're talking in the sense of, you know, when you're younger, for me, similar experience. The only thing I would add to that is the religious aspect playing a part into it in regards to right and wrong, as well as like y'all were saying, you know, I had, you know, both parents in the household, you know, until my dad passed and everything. And, you know, just from seeing their interactions, you know, that's all I knew, you know, just that was what I, you know, knew as a healthy relationship, you know. But then, you know, as coming from that, then you hear about, you know, people that, you know, have like, you know, step siblings and, you know, this, that, and the third or whatever. It's kind of foreign to me because that just wasn't my personal world. But, you
Right.
know, kind of just staying on top of that, I don't think it's really until you become an adult that you kind of just really actually know what a healthy relationship is, because during that time you're just really just trying to figure it out. You're listening to whom, you know, your parents, because they're supposed to be the ones that to you know everything about the world. So, you know, you want to listen to them and, you know, others. Another thing, you know, when I was young, you know, certain TV programming, you know, sitcoms, movies, you know, a lot of that plays a lot into, you know, how you kind of look at the world, how you want to treat others, things like that. And then when you become an adult, it's like, okay, how do I put all this together to be an actual functioning human being
Right.
in this world? You know what I mean? That's kind of like what it is for me.
For sure, for sure, for sure. Like, were you guys open to have conversations about mental illness, like interacting with people that struggle with different mental conditions or, you know, emotional strains and stuff like that? Like, was that a conversation that like your loved ones had with you? Or was that something you had to kind of figure out over time?
It was something like my mom kind of had a conversation she would tell me about, because that was the field like she did with degrees and stuff, like she deal with child psychology and stuff like that. So it it was there is because especially with kids. So she had, you know, she was a teacher, so she interacted with kids and she did some types of social work and stuff like that. So she interacted with all different disabilities or mental illnesses that people may have or kids may have. So it was a lot easier for her to kind of, you know, transition and let me know how things, you know, should be or how to handle those type of situations.
so for me, this is touched on a lot. First and foremost, my parents are my aunt and my uncle. So I was put in therapy in third grade because that's when I started trying to figure out why my birth mom didn't raise me. That's when I was trying to figure out if I was adopted, if I was a foster kid. I was trying to put it all together. So I was put in therapy to start learning that, you know, to start working on that at an early age. And then from there, my mom worked with traumatic brain injury patients at a it's a place in Connecticut called Daytar. And basically it's a bunch of group homes for, you know, mentally ill patients, traumatic brain injury patients. And then they go to a center and they work for the day, get their therapy, different things. It's like a big center. And so she did that. And what happens if holidays came and their families didn't pick them up, my mom would bring them home. So they would spend weekends and holidays with us. So I was taught a lot at an early age, from how to love people, how to care for people. My mom was raised very similar to me. She was raised by her great aunt. So um she had a very giving heart, you know, like bleed like really bad. Like she's worse than me. So I learned a lot just watching her give back and take care of people and, you know, help people, and especially elderly people. Like she loved elderly people. So a lot of her friends, I called them the old lady friends. I was like, you need to get some friends your own age, because she would be riding around with these 80-year-old ladies, but that would be the highlight of their day in their life, you know. So I learned all of that at an early age from watching her. And then my dad, he was just as loving. Now his bark was worse than his bite. He'd start off kind of grouchy, but he really wasn't. He had the heart of gold as well. He used to be a chef. And so like he took over like at the church, he would clean the church. And if we had something at the church, my dad would go buy all the food, cook all the food, bring it to the church, set it up, serve it, or they come to our house and they could eat. You know, our house was open to anybody. So I learned all of that, you know, very early on. You know, my mom would take me to shelters to give back to the less fortunate so that I could understand, you know, what I had was a blessing, you know, and it wasn't a given. It was something that, you know, I was blessed with. And she taught me early how to give back and take care of other people. So yeah, to answer all of that, yes, I learned hands-on. And it was discussed, you know.
That's so beautiful. Like that brings me so much peace just to know, because people don't even do that. So starting early, that's amazing. And it shows in your character too. It definitely shows in who you've become and who you are today.
Thank you. I know I'm seeing more of my mom in myself. Like I used to fuss at her about giving too much. And now like when I look at myself, I'm like, dang, like just like the lady. But yeah.
The greatest qualities. We just need balance everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, for me, I didn't really get too much of that at a young age. It was a lot of, you know, I don't know how to say it, kind of like you just like knew something was like different about somebody, but there wasn't like a name for it or, you know, anything like that. So like anything as far as like all the labels that we have today, that was just like over my head, you know, at that age. And if my parents did know about it, I just didn't know what the terms were for it. It was just either someone was slow or something else was going on, or, you know, it wasn't like a definition. So in regards to that, I can't really, you know, relate to that, you know, at a young age. That was something I had to figure out later in life. Like, oh, okay, that this person exhibits these features or this behavior, so that must be this, and you know, now I could put two and two together. But I know that now, but back then, no, I didn't.
Yeah, I definitely can see how that can be a factor. Like if you don't have it early on. And I only ask now because I feel like the earlier we can learn how to individualize how we deal with people and how to recognize like different traits and characteristics as signs asking for help, you know what I mean, without exactly verbalizing it. I feel like the more that we're able to recognize these things, the better we'll be able to navigate. I feel like there's a lot of times we involve ourselves with individuals who like in our initial interaction are literally crying for help. And just that interaction could be something like saving them, you know what I mean? But anyway, I brought that up because I had saw someone that I wanted to, like, my spirit told me to like speak to them, you know what I mean? And I was rushing and I had a lot going on. And I told myself yesterday, I was like, if I see them again, when I go back by there, I'm definitely going to stop this time and take that time. But I feel like learning healthy relations is really just relating. You know, sometimes you can relate to someone that you don't know, and they might need you. Like they might have been put in your path for a reason. You know what I
Right.
mean? So I feel like just us being aware of, you know, small things and being willing to use who we are, who we want to be, like whatever it is that makes us who we are, using it is really what drives our force, you know, our energy, our spirit. And it just made me think, I've been thinking about it heavy, like since that interaction. And I just been trying to figure out why, but I think I understand why. I think it's just, I think they just probably need to talk, and maybe I just want to listen, because sometimes very small similarities can drag you full force. So anyway, I know that having a mental illness sometimes can bring you, having a mental illness can bring you into like a danger zone or no touch zone to people that are not exactly sure how to deal with you, how to talk to you. Like they might feel like they got to walk on eggshells, or, you know, whatever the case is. But I feel like in my family sometimes, you know, growing up, it was one of those things, like even if you had a mental illness, people basically expected you to behave as if you didn't have one, you know.
Right.
And then it was almost like you would be spoken down on or made to feel ashamed of your truth, you know. And I know, like, we've all dealt with our own mental struggles, you know, whether or not it's an illness or, you know, post trauma, or you just experience in life, because things do get overwhelming. It's amazing more people aren't smoking crack. Like people try to talk, like people
Facts
try
though.
to, no, like someone said something to me the other day about you know, cannabis usage, and you know, there's a lot of different ways to medicate. There's a lot of different ways to treat and heal and work through, you know, your life however you want to see fit. And someone said something to me about how terrible, you know, cannabis is, cannabis being natural, cannabis traveling from Canis Major as a healing agent, you know. And I was like, you know, it's amazing people aren't doing worse things. You know, there are worse things that could be happening. You know, we definitely don't want people to feel like it's not okay for them to do what makes them okay.
Right.
Everybody's journey is different. So, but yeah, no, I really just wanted to know, what do you suggest for someone that is not able to be who they are or what they are without being made to feel ashamed? Like, what would they do?
I mean, first thing that comes to mind is you have to put on a mask. I mean, you'll just be putting on a front everywhere you go.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, initially, just live your truth. Like, regardless. I mean, don't do it to the point that it make others uncomfortable. You know, still respect those that are uncomfortable with it. Try to, I put it this way, try as hard as you can to surround yourself with people that will accept your truth for who you are, whether it's mental illness, anything of that nature, because that's going to be the only way that you will be able to be yourself. Because hiding yourself behind all these masks for other people, like she said, walking on eggshells, that doesn't do it. Like, that makes your life more stressful initially.
This made me think of this example. So I have a friend, I'll leave him nameless at the moment, but um, you know, he did, you know, tell us after a while that he was diagnosed with ADHD. And, you know, up until then, you know, we just thought he was live, you know what I mean? Like, you know, he
Right.
was always, you know, he walked into the room and it's party time, you know what I mean? Like life of the party. And, you know, great guy and all that. And, even, knowing that, it didn't change how we felt about him because, he was still our boy. It's just, okay, now we have a little more understanding onto why, okay, that's why he may do this or that's why he may do that. Okay, now we kind of understand what's going on now. So just having that kind of that discussion so a person can just be them, because we noticed that there would be some people that he would like talk to and they were just like, he's a bit much. Like,
Right.
It's not that. It's, that's just what it is. So.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, if they can't be true, then it does, like Scoob said, it makes it harder for them to the point where they spaz or they have, episodes or, tantrums or whatever. And sometimes it's a cry for help because they're trapped, you know what I'm saying? And what may seem one way on the outside to others, on the inside, like they're going crazy because they're holding this. They got to get it out. And depending on their support system, they got to find that escape. So that's where the spazzing out and all the other stuff comes in, because sometimes it's like they've reached a breaking point and nobody caught it in time. So what do you do for those kind of people, or those people, I shouldn't say kind of people, those people that are going through those things? I mean, for one, you try to be there as much as you can, but at the same time, like, you're not a professional. So it's only so much that you can do. And I think it's up to that person to also like accept, whatever's going on and that they need the help that they need. You know what I'm saying? Because that's the only way that they can get better. If that person doesn't want to get the help that they need, then, sometimes, unfortunately, you have to separate yourself depending on the circumstance, because sometimes it can be unhealthy for you, as a person. And just period, depending on the severity, of their diagnosis or whatever, it can be dangerous. Was it last year? I was in a situation like that. I had someone I met, and he really, really admired me. And so I took it as that, but then it grew into an infatuation. But there was also mental illness in there. And so it got to the point where it was like, if I didn't answer my phone, I would get like 30 text messages back to back to back. And then somewhere in there, it's going to be like, I'm going to kill myself.
Right.
And so now, that's why I said it can be draining on you as a person, because now it's like, okay, I don't want anything to do with this person. However, they're telling me they're going to kill themselves. So now what do I do? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So now you're back involved. So yeah. And that person, I did try. I even offered to go with them to see the therapist and, to get their meds. And like, I offered everything that I could possibly offer. So that person was like, no, God's got me. And I was like, yes, he does. But you still need something,
Right.
something, right? So yeah, it becomes a lot. And so I eventually had to separate myself.
And that's really the point right there, is that line. I feel like sometimes if we're not aware, that line can be so thin and can be crossed by something we didn't even know was a trigger. You know what I mean? So I just know, like, there's a class I'm working on now. It's for mental health first aid, being able to, recognize the signs of when someone is in distress, and like what to do and all that other stuff. It's basically like a first aid or CPR or something like that, but for people with mental illness. And I just know, like, dealing with young children and older children and them being in shared space, these things are very important, because people sometimes generalize how they deal with children. And I know a lot of people are realizing this now with homeschool, more than the public school system, is that these children are actually able to basically teach you how to teach them. Like, we're actually able to get on a one-to-one level with these children and understand how they receive information, how they receive love, how they respond to certain things, like be it energy or just time. Some children can't spend too much time on one thing, you know, and we just have to figure out how to teach them, how to love them. You know, I just feel like, you know, love languages are a thing right now, as far as being able to learn relations or just convening with people in general. I just think that we've become very desensitized, and you know, it's difficult to reach out and touch anybody, and not necessarily, you know, physically, but reaching out and touching someone on a level that I'm just here to give something and get something in return. Like, we're just here to exchange energy. Let this be a mutual and beneficial exchange. Like, no one wants to feel robbed. No one wants to feel drained. No
Right.
one wants to feel depleted. You should walk away from every interaction intact, you know, whole. And it should be something that adds to your life force. So I just know, like, I'm still learning a lot of things about myself, because I did have to wear the mask for a long time, because my people have been very, you know, religious, or um, you know, very clothed and short collared. And I know that I didn't grow up that way. Like, I was very free spirited, and I traveled a lot. And, you know, so when I finally did sit down, I had difficulty finding resonation, just because, you know, it was almost like, oh, you can't talk about that right here, right now. Or if if you speak on the wrong thing, or if you know, take too much time diving deep and, you know, showing your flaws and your wounds, you can't do that. So I'm learning how to just be, because I know that I was accepted more if I just was what people wanted me to be. So I think for the last probably couple years of my life, like, I've just been experiencing myself, you know, and I'm grateful for that. And it's helping me with my relationships, but I also find difficulty in my relationships when I'm not exactly sure how to say something I've already said before. And it's something that, like, I need to be felt on a spiritual or emotional or mental level. Like, it's something that you're not gonna understand, but this just has to be this way because this is my experience and this
Right.
is what we can do about it. But sometimes, like, we just have to communicate about our experiences, and be on the same page about them. So, you know, it's just something I think about heavy, because even encountering random people, you know, just I can feel the heaviness in their energy, and it just feels familiar. So it just makes me wonder, like, do we feel that when we bump into people? Are you irritated, or does that bring you back to reality? Like, do you ever zone out to where that brings you back just enough to be here and feel that person's energy, and maybe there was an exchange meant for you there? You know what I mean? So it just made me think, because I haven't felt anything heavy like that in a long time with a stranger. You know, I feel those things with people I'm connected to, you know, beings I've adapted to. But for whatever reason, I just been thinking about that day. So yeah, just
Well,
food for thought.
I just have one question before we dive deep into that. In regards to the beginning part, what you said, could that fall into also the response team for mental illness, in regards to like first responders? I know they said that they're trying to make sure that everybody or every law enforcement agency has that in place. So that way, if there is an issue with someone with mental illness, that they can respond before the officers do to see if they can get a hold of the situation. I know if that would fall into that same category or not.
So honestly, you know, my greatest wish, that would be my greatest wish. I surely hope so. But to be completely honest with you, some law enforcers will disregard that because they deal with quote unquote criminals. So oftentimes, unless that's someone that has had a personal experience to where they're going to think back and, you know, be aware, or if someone knows what to look for, it honestly just depends on that individual, because some people are going to look right past it. Others are going to notice warning signs. You know, there's codes 5150, like there's different things that they're trained in, but also in the heat of the moment, you could also come across someone that's been dealing with robberies and you know, maybe gunshots or all kind. It could be a number of things that is far away from what they're walking into, and so they're prepping themselves for what they just experienced. So honestly, I think like anything else, you should deal with each situation as its own, but you're not always going to come across that, which is why a lot of us get stopped because we look like a lot of us. So it's one of those things where it really just depends on who's in front of you. But I do know that they're also trained to deal with, understand, and in the event restrain someone with a mental illness. However, they are not often treated as if they have a mental illness.
Right.
So it just depends if you are aware of your situation, if someone can speak for you after that point. But it's very important. It's very, very important. And I do hope that they enforce that more.
Okay, back to the previous question. I mean, the sidetrack.
No, that's important. I mean, I definitely think it should be a requirement for anybody that's dealing with public service in general. Like, I don't even think you have to be a law enforcer or an EMT or anything like that. I definitely feel like if you work with people, that should be something you should be trained in.
Yeah.
Especially children. Especially children.
Yeah. I know, like, for me, as long as I'm not like, because we all have up and down days, and if I'm in my being and not like got the weight of the world on my shoulders and like mad, just like I can't believe this is going on or whatever like that, I'm usually more in tune to what's going on around me and the people that I come across. And in times like that, especially like if someone kind of like comes off as that they had like a bad day or something, it's kind of like, hey, are you okay? Like, I actually like asked them a legit question, like, because probably no one that day has like stopped the thought to say, hey, are you actually okay? They might just, go off, be mad or talk back to them and then engage into an argument that didn't even need to be an argument in the first place because they had something going on in their personal life that no one just cared about. You know what I mean? Because everybody just thinks about me, 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 me. We're just in a me society, and nobody wants to, think about the next person. But from time to time, you may come across I might be out somewhere or whatever, and it's just like, what? Let me talk to this person because something is going on over here. You know what I mean? But
right.
that's just my personal experience.
Yeah, like and that's another thing, like I really just try to speak peace. Even if I just smile and say peace. At the end of the day, a lot of people don't even get looked up at. You know what I mean?
Right.
And until they having a one-on-one interaction or, at the counter at the gas station. I've been at work with people all day. I've seen people I know all day, yet this woman at the counter is the first one to look me in my eyes and ask me how I'm doing. So it's just one of those things where, like you say, you never really know. So I just speak peace and I show love. And if they decide not to take it, that's on them. I put that energy out and I'm going to get it back at some point.
Right.
But it's just a consideration.
You have a similar experience or anything like that, or?
Nah.
So like, nope. I ain't saying nothing.
Okay, listen. I had to unmute my computer because I was laughing. But nope, not recently.
But in a whole, I mean, everything you've said has had valid points, and really points down to is just how our society has made its way to, and it's just such disconnect between each other. It's insane, and there's people hurting from it. Like, nobody checks on each other no more. You don't really have that small knit community that you kind of grew up with kind of vibe. It's just everyone's out in the world on their own. You know what I mean? Now,
right.
On one side of it, I get it in the sense of you don't know who you're going to run into what that person has going on, which could be a negative effect on you and those around you. But also there are people that really just want help or want someone to listen to them, or, you know, whatever the case may be, you know, there's that side of it too. So, I mean, it's a two-headed coin.
So what do you do when you have someone, they cry for help via social media, right? And then you offer
Are you saying
something.
like, I'm just looking at a post and I see something in there they're saying, okay,
I'm tired of life. You know, just something, right?
yeah.
And then a week later, it's the same thing again. And then like it just becomes a pattern.
That
What do
sounds
you
like
guys
attention
do?
seeking. If and it could possibly not be, but if it's one of those things where it's like you're talking about it and talking about it and talking about it and not actually seeking help or working to help yourself, it's more so one of those things. Some people cry suicide a lot. Some people cry attention a lot. Some people cry, favor a lot. And I think it really just depends on the situation. And if you're willing to help yourself, you can definitely help yourself, but no one can be helped if they don't want help. So I know like we do have to be careful, like dealing with someone who is serious about what they're saying versus someone who, really that's just how they get your attention. And maybe you're not mad anymore because now you think I'm going to hurt myself or,
Right.
something like that. But some people truly are crying for help or in distress, and it's just expressing like how they feel and like want out. Like, I got to get out of this. I'm trying to tell you.
Yeah.
So, but I definitely want to put a support group together. So I think that all of these discussions are important.
Right. I mean, back to what So was saying, the question. I mean, honestly, it's tricky. I'm going to be completely honest with you, just off my personal experience, because I had a friend that, would do that. And, his close friends, we could reach out to him and he would say he's good. And then others he would just like rampage on. And then he finally did it, and it was just like so heart-stricken, because it's like at certain points we were just like, it's just him, you know what I'm saying? We gonna let him breathe, do what he gotta do, and he'll be fine. But then
That happened to me too.
yeah, he finally did it, so it's like it's tricky, you know what I'm saying? And then you feel defeated because you're just like, what else could I've done, you know what I'm saying? So it's real tricky.
Yeah. That happened to me as a guy I went to high school with, very popular, handsome young man. And unfortunately, he was on drugs. And so I do think it played a major part. And then he had other things in his personal life, dealing with family acceptance and things like that. But he did something very similar. He would put here and there posts and people would comment. And the last time he did it, it was over 300 comments like before. Oh, excuse me. And he ended up hanging himself.
Same.
And then after, of course, another flood of comments, reached his post. But I just felt like he had his mind made up. And it was, I don't know if there's anything that anybody could do. You know what I'm saying? Like, he had it all figured out, if that makes sense. The timing, when he did it, where he did it. So it was like,
Right.
I know that some people cry for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Some people ask for help for a long time. And I do think it's just important to realize that like as life may continue to go on, sometimes we are trapped in a reality that feels unavoidable or unescapable.
Yeah. I mean, I'll be honest, like, I never thought about hurting myself, but I've been in like some dark places before. But I never would think that deep. But it does get lonely because everybody has a life. Everybody's living. And so it's like you don't want to be a burden on people, and then you don't want to seem like, you know, it's attention. Like you just don't want to be like, at least for me, just don't want to be a bother. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I just stay here by myself, push through this, and then, you know, I'll be okay. But it does get lonely, you
Or
know,
be
and then
that
there is
person.
times, yeah. And then there is times where you do be like, dang, you know, does anybody notice I'm missing? You know,
Right.
like it does, you know. So it's tough. And especially with everything going on in the world right now, you know what I'm saying? I know there's a lot of people that are in those dark places, from losing their jobs to, you know, economy, gas prices going up, food's going up, you know what I'm saying? One pandemic after another, from the, you know, the strains of the COVID virus. Every day it's a new strain, and it's just a lot from the violence that we have. So I'm pretty sure like this time there's a lot of hurt people. And, you know, even dealing with police officers, like I always feel like this. Like I know I'm not justifying anything that they've done, but I will say this. They have a lot on them. And, you know, like look at the news every day. Crime is getting worse and worse and worse. And these are the people that go out there, barely make money, and have to, you know, protect us. So some of them snap too. You know what I'm saying? And then on top of it, you know, growing up, the police officers, they were older, you know, and it's like Mr., you know, officer such and such. And you know what I'm saying? Like you kind of knew some of them, and they were, you know, older. If you look at them now, they're younger, a lot younger. You know what I'm saying? So they're processing life too, because outside of that uniform, and again, not justifying for any of them, but just, you know, for the few that I know personally outside of the uniform, they get treated just the same, you know?
Yeah.
So they be having mental issues too. And I think they need, you know, a lot of help. They don't even realize it. We've always looked at them as the heroes, but, you know,
Right.
heroes need help too.
Yeah. Anybody in the, I don't want to say just law enforcement, because even, you know, with firefighters and, you know,
Mm-hmm.
first responders of all that sort, all of them should have some type of, I don't want to say mandatory, but easy access to therapy, or, you know, or something like that. You know?
Yeah.
Cause I remember, you know, before my dad passed, you know, he wouldn't tell us details, but there were some scenes that he went to, because he was first responder, firefighter, and all that, and he was the chief of the rescue squad before he passed. There'd be some scenes he would go to, and he just would not say what happened because it was just that bad. Like
Right.
you would just have to
Mm-hmm.
hold on to that. Just him and the people that were on that scene were the ones that knew
Exactly.
about it, and that's it. And it's just like, man, I can't even think about that.
Yeah. I dated an officer. He was like that. Very weird.
Mm. We just got to reach out to each other. That's all it is to it.
Yep.
It's crazy because it's almost like sometimes it seems like it's easier not to.
Mm.
Right.
And that's like that's a iffy line too, you know, because, you know, but yeah, we should be able to reach out.
All right, I think we're getting about that time. We'll go ahead and bring it in, some closing remarks.
Yeah, pretty much. Don't hide behind a mask. Be yourself. Open up to people. Don't be, well, not all people, but open up to people and let them know how you really living in your life, your mental and everything. And it helps a lot more than you would actually think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
I definitely agree.
Yep. Very well spoken.
Just exist, truly. I think we overcomplicate this thing.
Facts.
We
Yeah.
overcomplicate it, and oftentimes we're oversimplifying like who we are. So
Yeah.
we just gotta take time, I think, to just exist. I think everybody should meditate, even if when you lay in the bed and open your eyes, when you wake up before your feet hit the ground, you know, just take a minute to yourself.
Exactly. Your journey is not anybody else's but yours.
Mhm.
Facts.
For sure.
And I don't expect everybody to, start talking to random strangers, be like, hey, how you doing? You good? You know what I'm saying? I don't expect all that, but at least start with a coworker or someone that's, kind of like in your close proximity that you see on a regular basis that you would notice if something was different. You know what I mean? And, kind of like start with somebody like that. And then if you do see something, say, hey, is everything okay? And just go from there. That's usually what works for me. And then, you kind of figure out what's going on and they'll either share it with you or they won't. After that, you reached out, that's it.
Yeah, don't take offense if they don't open up to you, because everybody is not going to open up to you at all. You do your part. If they're going to open up to you, they're going to open up to you. If not, all right.
Yep,
Quick question.
They know you're there though.
Exactly. Yeah. Then that was my point. I was gonna say, like, what do you think is too long for a check-in, like with an old friend, or like I drop off the face of the earth like every maybe other year or so. And I know there's a lot of individuals whose information I lost, and like whenever I find them, I basically just pop up and send love. But how long is too long for you to like feel the need to respond? Because I've sent like 3 that I haven't gotten responses back.
Oh no. Now we just talking about just like your close people, or like
just to check in, you know what I mean? Like we were close at one point in time, but like I've started my life over so many times now that it's just like I don't know what you do to make yourself happy now. I know what you did, but we grow, we learn, we change every single day.
Yeah, I don't talk to my ex best friend.
Neither do I, but
I'm so good on her. I've tried to understand myself back then on how I thought that was my friend.
Listen, you better talk to me, preacher.
For real.
One more time for the people in the back.
Hey.
I'm for real. You ever be like, even with relationships, like, I should be like, what's wrong with you?
And then I tell myself I need that perspective. I tell myself it wasn't all out the window. It was worth it in some way to tell me not to do it again.
Yeah. Learning experience. Yeah. There we go. Yeah, I think we've all had that one or several people that we've, for whatever reason, communicated with, and it's just like, what was that? Like, what was I doing?
Right.
Like,
I never saw you like outside of my life. What would I do without you? And then look at me living.
Just fine.
Right.
I don't know how long is too long though. I don't know. It's just you just do it. I don't know. I don't have a timer. I know some people do though. Like they're like, oh, if I ain't talk to my so and so, like with my mom. I used to talk to her every day, then sometimes it'd be like every other day, sometimes twice a week, then back to every day. You know what I'm saying? So somebody like her, at least within a week, it would have been a check-in. Like, hey man, what you doing? What you been doing? And but outside of her, I don't know. It just depends.
I mean, I say at least once a year.
Yeah.
Because I mean, if everybody's living their lives and it's just hard to like get up on like a regular occasion, at least bare minimum, hey, once a year, like, how you been? Blah blah blah. What's going on? That kind of thing.
Yeah.
Everybody else is like, I could use some work with that.
Right, I hear it. I definitely appreciate the input because I don't know. It was okay for me to not check in like as a teenager and then up. And so I think I just got used to like just going about my life, and I could visit. I could just drop in, pop in, and just show my face when I felt like it, because my family kind of like was away, So I'm just learning now. Like I'm sitting still, and I'm reaching out in a different way. So
yeah.
It definitely made me think about it because I was like, I haven't been back home.
Yeah. Well, I think we can definitely say, definitely in regards to the topic. Just definitely to reach out to someone if you can. Um, that's pretty much it. Just reaching out to people, not
Reach
just
out into
Boy, get out my head.
somebody's
I
head.
was about to say
You
that's how we used
better.
to
Make
end
this world a
church.
better place.
Yes, and we used to have to stand around the
And
congregation and hold hands, a big circle,
Oh yeah.
and we would sing that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I was
Rocking.
surely thinking about that too. Now you got it side to side.
I was thinking about the Jackson American story when Diana and Michael were singing it.
Really?
Oh yeah.
I literally was singing that junk. That's crazy because that's how we used to end church. And I was gonna say, well, let's reach out and touch
there you go.
somebody's hand, but not with COVID. Put gloves on.
Right.
It's bumps.
Or
Yeah.
sanitize.
Shields.
But that's a real song though. Make this world a better place if you can.
Mm-hmm.
We used to just sing it. Didn't even know we were singing.
Lean on me.
That's another one.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm done. I can't say.
Just for that song, I gotta say this. They used to call me Crazy Joe, now they call me Batman.
Rest in peace, Crazy Joe.
Boy.
Yes.
I had to.
Rising.
Classic movie. I might have to watch
Yes.
that tonight when I go to sleep.
Man.
But anybody got anything going on this week coming up?
I don't, but
What's
I
popping?
do have a new book that I'm wanting to indulge in because of the Breakfast Club.
Talk to me. What you got?
Hey.
It's called Drug Use for Grown-Ups. It's by Dr. Carl L. Hart. They did an interview with him the other day, and he does like studies on drugs, pretty much. Basically, in a nutshell, what he's saying is, in a nutshell, is if you, like we just discussed, if you do what you do, don't try to hide behind it and don't be ashamed of it. Because like he was explaining in his interview, like he's like, when I say this guy is dug deep into drugs, he actually did heroin for like 2 weeks.
I was gonna say that's the doctor that does heroin, right? Yeah. Me and AB were just talking about him. That's really funny.
He did a detox. Like he said he wanted to feel exactly what it felt like to go through the detox and everything, but he did his studies to do the time to where it wouldn't be as bad. But he was like, I never want to go through that again. Like he's saying is, for the book title initially, what his explanation is that you should be able to do what you want to do, and there should be testing centers up for, harder drugs or whatever, but it should be to the point to where it's like, hey, I'm going home to have a beer after work. And it's like, it's not all about addiction. It's the reason why he says it's for adults per se, is for people who know how to handle their life and go through life and still do what they do and be able to handle it. Like saying no drug is a bad drug. If you can handle it, do what you do. So I'm really intrigued by his book, and I really want to get into it and dive into it and read it, because like he's a college professor, matter of fact. And they were on him like, well, what do the colleges think about you doing drugs or whatever? He was like, look, with my degrees and my reputation on what I do, they don't question what I do. You know what I'm saying? So he's like my book says, I can handle it. I can go through life and do what I need to do. So I want to read more into it. It seems like a really good read.
See, I was listening to them talk about it on Brilliant Idiots. So I haven't got to the Breakfast Club episode just yet. But I know what Charlotte was saying on Brilliant Idiots was all that you were saying about what he said just now, but his take on it was, instead of having a safe zone center where people can just use or whatever, take that, but actually help them to just get off of it, period.
Yeah. That was his argument, for the entire thing. Like, let's get them other help.
Yeah.
But also, like he was saying, that doesn't work for everybody.
True too.
Yeah, because I know lots of high functioning drug users. Just from, I think, my entire life, and I've seen more of them like up north. There's a lot of like, I don't want to say panhandling drug users. I know like up north it's normal. Like they'll go to work all day and then at night they'll have their time, but they also have a job, they have their money,
Yep.
Can, support themselves and still do what they feel they want to do.
Exactly.
I worked with a guy like that, believe it or not, at the daycare.
Wow.
He was
Okay.
the chef, and he drove the bus, the little bus with the kids. But he was a functioning cocaine user.
Yeah.
And how I found out, older gentleman, army vet, everything. And how I found out, one day I walked in the kitchen, and it wasn't my time to go in, and I kind of just busted in. Hey, Mr. Lewis, I got a question. And he had it. I guess I found out too, the people was coming to the school to deliver to him. And so I don't know if he had just got it or what, but it was in his hand. And then he put it down. And I was like, he's like, don't say nothing, and like that's when he had to tell me. And he told me he had been doing it for years, house was paid for, wife was happy, daughter happy, come in every day, work and do his thing.
Yeah. Because a lot of people don't realize it. That's what the corporate world really runs off of. That's the crazy thing. Like these millionaires, they run off cocaine. Like they really do. That's how they. And then another point he made, he was like, a lot of people say this drug is bad and this. He was like, majority of the drugs, they come from plant. They're natural. Ain't nothing. You just add a couple different chemicals to it and make what you make. It's all natural. There's no. You know what I mean? So I really want to dig into it. I want to, because the first hint I got of him, I saw him on a Netflix documentary about the crack epidemic. And I was like,
Is this still on there?
The Netflix one?
Yeah.
I think it is. If I'm not mistaken.
Do you remember what? If you don't remember what it's called, I'm a look for it because I definitely would like to dive into that. I've been wanting to do some searching.
I think it's called Crack, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken, because I know I watched it not too long ago, and it was really informative. I really enjoyed it. I little do you know, I dig deep into like illegal drugs and all that stuff. Like I like watching stuff about that. It really intrigues me.
And then different stuff does different things for different people.
Yeah.
Like some people struggle with, basic functions. So if something can help you, like, exist here, then so be it.
Right.
I think it's just when people get too addicted and lose their control. It's like drinking.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Alcohol, don't know your limit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's still on there. It's called Crack. It's called Crack, Cocaine, Corruption, and Conspiracy. That's what it's called. It's an hour and a half long.
Oh, I love it. Thank you.
No problem.
So, you got anything coming up this week? Nothing? What? I don't believe it.
Time to take a break. Time to.
Right.
I'm lying. I mean, this girl, I met her on Clubhouse. She be here Thursday, I think, for her birthday. And I told her I was going to hang out with her. So that's really it. Other than that, I'm going to sit down somewhere. I'm tired.
I feel it.
Jinx. Nah, that's.
Jinx, you owe me some elderberry.
I got some.
Is it in the freezer?
Shoot, I ain't got anything going on this week except for every Friday I'm back at Bonjour Crate. So if you're in Greenville, South Carolina, stop by. I'm there from 7 to 11 every Friday. Unless something else happens, I'll be there. Just, blend in.
The ban is lifted this weekend.
Which ban?
The serving alcohol after 11.
Really?
Yeah.
I saw that.
There was a ban?
Yeah. It was. You couldn't serve alcohol after 11 o'clock.
Back to 2 a.m.
Now back to 2 a.m. and events can have 250 or right at 250. That's the cap. Yep. Depending on the building.
Yep. That's actually why I hit you up about the link up, because I actually saw that and I was like,
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I might not be there from 7 to 11. It might be like 9 to 2 or 10 to 2. I don't know. We're gonna.
Yeah, they lifted it. He lifted it. He made the statement last week, and it's supposed to go into effect this weekend.
Yep.
Huh.
I saw
Bars and
that.
restaurants. Yep.
Okay. All
I need
right.
to come back up there before it gets too hot. I like those rooftop bars y'all got.
Yeah, that's a pretty cool spot.
Yeah. But yep.
Okay. I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna go more into that off air. But okay, I'm glad you told me that because I would have been like, what's going on? Like, all right. Well, if that's everything, I guess we'll go ahead and close out the show. And then wait.
Topic.
All right, see, I
He
almost caught myself.
remembered.
I almost
He
caught myself.
remembered. Hey, everybody give him a round of applause. He remembered the topic
Boy.
this week. Woo!
I be having a lot on my mind, y'all.
That
They're gonna
sticky
burn
note
my
must be
nail.
sitting pretty.
Do what?
I said that sticky note must be sitting pretty.
Oh man, I need to still put that up here. All right. So next week we have from me actually, what is a patriot? There's been a lot of quote unquote patriotic activity in these past few months. I'm going to get down to what is and what isn't a patriot. I think that might be an interesting topic for ones to chime in on. So yeah, that's what we're gonna talk about next week.
Yep.
Pipe 3 at these on. Pipe 3 at these on. I said patriotism.
Oh, I know if that was English or what you said. You said it so fast. I was like, what is she saying? Lord forgive us. Oh, bless me, Lord. Okay. Also, don't forget, if you are looking to start a podcast and you are listening to us on one of the various apps that we're located on, such as Pandora or Apple Podcasts or even iHeartRadio, go down to the bottom. There's a link right there. Hit that link. And then if you're wanting to start a podcast, after you get a paid subscription, you'll get a $25 gift card and also helps out our show. So please do that. And yeah. Anything else before I take us all the way off?
No?
Be breezy.
Hey.
Yeah.
Not cheesy.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to go ahead and close this out. Y'all have a good one. Love all y'all.
A peace, family.
And check on your peoples. Don't be me mugging nobody.
All right, I'll text y'all now.
All right, I'll see y'all.
Peace.
Peace.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram at Tough Talk Podcast. That's at TUFF Talk Podcast.